To all my viewers, Happy Independence Day. I wish you all the very best. So, friends, you all know that every Independence Day, PM Modi gives his speech from Red Fort. And let me tell you, this time's speech was the longest out of the 12 times he has spoken before. It lasted about 103 minutes. Last year's speech was 98 minutes, which was the previous record. But now there is a new record. This time he talked about a lot of important things, including topics related to foreign affairs. If there is any issue related to India, I will explain everything to you one by one in detail. As you know, this is the 79th Independence Day because 78 years of independence have been completed. This was the 12th consecutive times that PM Modi gave a speech from Red Fort, and he broke the record of Indira Gandhi's 11 consecutive speech from the Red Fort. So PM Modi is now just behind Jawaharlal Nehru in terms of giving consecutive speeches here. Anyway, you can see that the whole celebration starts with the PM Modi paying tribute first at the memorial of Mahatma Gandhi, which we call Rajghat. Then he reaches the Red Fort, where the entire celebration takes place. This time, keep in mind the theme for this year's independence was Naya Bharat or New India because here the government wants to achieve a developed India. Anyway, in the speech, they mentioned a lot of things. I will break it down into different segments for you. First of all, they talked about national security and also mentioned Pakistan. As you all know, there has been a lot of buzz about Operation Sindoor. This time, it had to be because of the attack by terrorists in Pahalgam. It was really important to give them a strong response. That's why you saw Operation Sindoor being carried out. PM Modi said that the way India struck, Pakistan couldn't sleep at night. Basically, Pakistan was restless. India attacked with missiles, and especially after Pakistan retaliated, we hit their air bases even more directly. At first, our main goal was to eliminate the terrorist camps. We targeted them very precisely, but then Pakistan said they would retaliate, and after that, Pakistan responded here. You have seen what happens in the end. Also, over the past week or so, ever since Asim Munir went to the US, there has been constant nuclear blackmail. Nuclear threats are being made. On this, PM Modi has clearly said that India will not tolerate nuclear blackmail. Anyway, whatever dynamics are unfolding right now, even the US isn't saying much. Just think about it. This is probably the first time ever that Pakistan's army chief is basically threatening India with nuclear blackmail right from American soil. Anyway, whatever it is, this was an important point. Secondly, about the Indus Water Treaty, you must have seen some speeches recently. Shahbaz Sharif, Pakistan's Prime Minister, also said that cancelling the Indus Water Treaty wouldn't be right if India takes any such a step. In fact, Asim Munir even said that if India builds a dam, they would blow it up with missiles. But here, PM Modi reiterated from the Red Fort that the Indus Water Treaty was one sided and blood and water can't flow together. So, in a way, he was explaining India's intent. So, we are going to keep the treaty suspended here. PM Modi repeated this and said that earlier Pakistan was getting an advantage from it. So we are completely ending that. India made it crystal clear again that we are not backing out. And the third point, which is really important and much talked about from a national security perspective, is Mission Sudarshan Chakra. Basically, you must have seen during Operation Sindoor when Pakistan started to retaliate. The defense system we set up on our border, it was really amazing. I mean, no matter how many drones or missiles Pakistan tried to launch, none of them hit our critical infrastructure. We took them down right away. Now, here PM Modi said that by 2035, meaning in the next 10 years, wherever there are critical sites in India, like, for example, the parliament, airports, or any other important places, We will build a multi layer national shield to protect them. Basically, we shall provide full security for these crucial sites. For example, like the border areas where our anti defense system will definitely be operational. The anti missile defense system will work fully. But let's say if any missile does manage to hit critical infrastructure like the parliament building, then a complete protective shield will be set up there as well. So the entire system is developed to stop any missile at critical sites. These are some important points they mentioned from a national security perspective. In fact, if you look, just yesterday, there was news that Pakistan has formed a new force. They basically set up a force, which means they announced it because of the way India had been launching missiles over Pakistan. Seeing this, Pakistan realized they needed a new force to control the entire missile system. Anyway, whatever the case is, now moving on to the economy. You all know that GST was introduced in 2017, but after GST came in, there have been a lot of problems and issues. People keep saying that the rates are too high on the everyday stuff we need. The government is charging 18% GST. To deal with all this, PM Modi has announced that the next generation of GST reforms will be introduced by Diwali. He mentioned a double Diwali and said that this Diwali, the tax burden, meaning the GST on goods, will be significantly reduced, especially on items that are commonly used daily by everyone, or whether poor or rich. So GST on those goods will be lowered. Yes, everyone probably knows this. If a decision related to GST has to be made, it needs approval from the GST Council. But recently, for the first time, they mentioned something about this. It seems like something is going to happen. Let's see what updates come related to this. Also, you might have noticed that recently the government announced a 1 lakh crore plan aimed at employment for the youth. Look, if you are getting a job for the first time, the government will provide 15,000 support for the first time in private sector. Along with the companies that are hiring will also get some kind of incentive here. So you can call this an EPFO linked incentive. But its name has been changed to the Pradhan Mantri Viksit Bharat Rozgar Yojana. Next, Dam Kham or Dam Jaida talked about this. Basically, you all know about the tariff tension going on, like how Donald Trump was threatening India with the highest tariff in the world, 50%. Keeping this in mind, you will notice there has been a lot of discussion about it. Recently, actually just yesterday, President Murmu mentioned here, let's resolve to use Indian products. So, Swadeshi 2.0 or 2.0. A few days ago, PM Modi also said here that we should move towards Swadeshi, and in his speech, PM Modi repeated that he is standing like a wall to protect our farmers and fisher folk, because Donald Trump wanted India to open up the agriculture and dairy sectors. But that could have caused a lot of damage to India. That's why PM Modi said we now need to focus on how to boost manufacturing more. We should push Make in India output, but at the same time, we have to make sure the products are good quality and cost effective. In other words, they need to be export ready so we can avoid tariffs. So indirectly, he didn't mention America or Trump by name, but it was a clear hint. You must have noticed that whenever the US does something, there is always a statement issued against it somewhere. Next, he talked about technology. Look, everyone knows semiconductors are super important today, and chips are going to play an even bigger role in the future, because every electronic product uses chips, whether it's a car or video games, anything you can think of. But the thing is, India hasn't been producing any chips so far. But finally, by the end of 2025, this year, PM Modi has announced that the first made in India semiconductor chips will soon hit the market, which is a big step forward. I am not saying these are super advanced chips, but recently the government decided to open four new semiconductor across four states. I think in Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, and Punjab. So we are slowly but surely moving ahead with this. Next, he also talked about jet engines and other things, emphasizing the need to localize the entire complex system. We need to give even more emphasis, like the jet system is done. Besides that, lithium cell materials, solar warfare models, all these things related to science and technology need to be focused on more. And look, here PM Modi said something really interesting. Operation Sindoor wouldn't have been successful if we didn't push Make in India, meaning if we don't manufacture defense related products within the country, we will remain dependent on other nations during war times. How can we depend on someone else? That they will supply us with defense equipment only then can be fired at our neighboring or enemy countries. Because of this, it's really important that all critical technologies are developed here in India. Besides that, the environment is part of everything nowadays. And this time, PM Modi mentioned how 5 years ago India set a target to reach 50% clean energy by 2030. And he mentioned we have already achieved that target. And going forward, we shall reduce our dependency on oil imports. We shall push more towards hydrogen and nuclear energy. Alongside this, there is a big issue going on with immigration. You see, there is a lot of talk in the country, especially in Assam, about how the demographics are changing, how the local population is decreasing in number, and outsiders are coming in and settling down. Keeping this in mind, in his speech, he mentioned that they are determined to take tough action against illegal immigrants. In fact, I recently heard that in Delhi, especially in Gurugram, many illegal immigrants who were working there have been picked up and taken away. The police are going to carry out many such actions. It was also said that the demographic shift happening because of infiltration is not right. We want to protect both jobs and safety against this. They want to take steps. Along with that, they talked about the new laws that have just come into effect here. The new criminal laws, the Bharat Nyaya Sanhita, and the three new criminal laws in general. He mentioned now these laws are bringing justice reform into people's lives and improving their ease of living. Besides that, he also discussed on a few other things. For example, he talked about how the women's self-help group, that is SSG, have done wonders, achieved amazing things in the last 10 years. And the products they are making, the global markets are becoming more accessible in different ways. Keeping this in mind, he called out to the youth of India, saying, whatever innovative idea you have, share them. The government is open to your ideas. We shall make whatever reforms are needed. He also emphasized that the youth should focus on manufacturing. This is really important because even today, manufacturing contributes only 16% to our GDP. We need to increase that to 25%. So he said that work is underway on the National Manufacturing Mission and efforts are being made to accelerate it. So we need to focus more on quality. Like I told you, the price should be low, but the impact should be high. Just a little bit of that. At the same time, he also talked about poverty and said, I know what poverty really is. I don't need to read about it in books. I have been in the government and I believe the government shouldn't just be buried in files. It should work for the people with in mind. He said how over the past few years, 250 million Indians have been lifted out of poverty. So these were some important points. And PM Modi also mentioned this from the Red Fort like every year. This speech is really important. You must have learned a lot of things before you go. Here is a really interesting question. In the context of constitutional provisions, who has the power to declare a national emergency in India? Comment it. And Jai Hind.
मुझे किताबों में पढ़ना नहीं पड़ा है।